Oh, there it is. That's kind of fast. I thought it would take a little longer for the stream to be here. Okay, good. Also, I see that I need to actually turn on the overlay, this one, because in a moment I have to actually turn it off because I'll have to get the code from Discord and I don't want everybody joining us. That would be kind of weird. If there is a code, I don't see one yet. I'll just join the call and see what everybody else. Oh, wait, I'm actually a day early. Never mind. Well, while I'm here, that's fine. I'm gonna play a local game then. I'm not gonna alert a bunch of people to the fact that I'm a day early when I shouldn't be here. Then I'm just gonna play a little bit of game myself, babble a little bit about what's going on. Let's see now. Which one was I on? I think here is the most recent one. Birdie? How long have I been playing? A minute 54? I think that's an hour. It's one of them. Let's see who I was even going after on this save. We're gonna do a little bit of a local chat and play, I guess. Now that I've confused myself in dates, because today, or rather this week, Inge has a class, I think a painting class or something still today, and that's why we're not doing it on Tuesday. We're doing it tomorrow. But let's take a look. Fortune teller. Young man from Stardew Valley. Welcome, welcome. Spirits feel neutral today. Great. Let's take a look who I was trying to charm. No one? No one, apparently. I haven't given anybody any gifts. Okay, so all options are open. Did I just... I've been here for several days. Maybe I didn't charm anybody. Okay, just playing game. Alright, fine. Suits me fine. That means I don't have to run after anybody. Anyway, so a while ago, I don't think I put that on this channel. I think I put it on a different channel, but I'll just go ahead and announce that here as well. Two things, actually. A while ago, I uploaded videos about my dad who was in the nursing home, and I definitely had a hard time with that, as the videos will say, also because of that woman that he was with. That's a whole story. Maybe I should talk about that while I'm at it. And I'm just gonna grab these worms over here as well. A nice rusty spur. I've got mail. Anyway, so if you have followed those videos, then you know that she was very manipulative and stuff like that. Oh, I need to go to the wizard. And, oh, there's more. What is this? Stones scattered around your farm. Great. Let's see what the rest of the farm looks like so I can remind myself what I was doing. Not a whole lot by the looks of things. And so that didn't get much better. The situation with her, she just kept annoying us, getting in our way, trying to get in between him and us as much as possible. It looks like I haven't cleared all my wood yet. And that just... Well, it got from bad to worse, also because he was, of course, suffering from dementia, and he didn't actually know who she was on a lot of the days. She has certain moods that she would be in. Like, as you would know with manipulative people, they can be very sweet 1 second, and then they flip on you, and then they start accusing you of all sorts of things, and you don't really have any say in the matter. It just depends on what they want you to do, how they react to you. I think I already looked in here, there wasn't anything there. And so she would try to get him to do things, even though he could barely walk on some days or barely remember her name. But due to her behavior, he started referring to her as either her mother or one of her 7 sisters or something. So I'm guessing those different siblings were all the different moods that he saw her in. And he didn't really see her as one person anymore. So that was an interesting experience, and after a while, I guess he got too needy, and she claimed after one day getting a cold or some type of, I don't know, flu, whatever it was. There was news that there was some serious flu going around, and that is the time she decided to say, you know what, I've got such a bad case of the flu, I can't leave the house anymore, so now I'm just going to call him once or twice a day, and the healthcare staff will just have to bring the phone to him because he doesn't seem to answer on his own anymore, because he didn't really understand how phones worked anymore at that point. And then they will have to get him on the phone, and then I can talk to him and stuff like that. So she got all all these care workers involved in trying to get him on the phone every day, even though he had trouble standing, etc. Inventory is full. I'm gonna get rid of this pine cone. Nobody cares. I think the call is more important. So through that, she was manipulating him even more, while not even physically having to attend him anymore, because I'm pretty sure at that point she found another man to harass. I don't know if I ever said that in any of the videos. I may have mentioned it a couple of times, like offhandedly, but she has spoken about how she had 3 different husbands before, and they were all old, sickly men, and they ended up dying, and she didn't want him to die instead of her, but she's 10 years younger anyway, so saying that to an older man with dementia is a little bit strange because you know it's not gonna work out like that. But okay, that's just how she talked to him. Very disrespectful, demanding things that he couldn't possibly give her and stuff like that. So after a while, yeah, she wasn't going over anymore, and this was, I think, in January that started of 2025, so last year, January. He physically was doing pretty much the same. Like he had a very slow deterioration. He started off like when he was put in the care home in December of 2022, spending most of his time just laying in bed because he didn't seem to feel like he had anything else to do. He was able to walk and stuff like that, but he just didn't. But after a while, he did this, develop that shuffling walk that a lot of older people tend to get, and usually when they start shuffling, it's like the beginning of the end because when they start shuffling, they start falling. When they start falling, they start hurting themselves. Bad things happen, etc. So that's when things got from bad to worse for him. I have a geode that I need to process. Shall I do that now? Clint is still open. There we go. Spur. That has already been turned in apparently because it doesn't say that Gunter knows anything about it. Or, well, Gunter doesn't know a lot anyway. But this one is also saying that Gunter will not help us with this item. Alright, so beginning of the end, like I said. And yeah, he kind of just went along like that for quite some time. Like he fell quite a lot, but he managed to fall in a way that it didn't actually break anything. He did have quite a few bruises, but other than that, he was fairly okay. It was also mostly the falling because he would use his walker, but his walker was actually a little bit too small for him because he is or was a quite tall man, definitely over 6 feet. And most walkers do not seem to support that for some reason. And of course he was only like 77, no 75 when he went into the care home. And so he fell a lot because he would try to walk with the walker, but he would end up pushing the walker further and further ahead of him. So eventually he would just kind of be stretched out and he would just slide to the floor. And then people were really like, oh, he fell again today. Because you can read that in like the digital dossier that they keep of people in a care home. So they would be like, oh, he fell again, but there's no issues, there's no pain. He says he doesn't have any pain and stuff like that. No noticeable wounds or anything like that. So there was that type of falling, but there was also just the type of falling where he just lost his balance and didn't know how to get up out of his chair properly, stuff like that. Now the falling actually did not end up being the thing that got him in the end, because sometime in April 11th, I believe it was a Friday, he got sick. He suddenly didn't have much breath anymore, so he stayed in bed a lot, and the people in the care home were like monitoring him. And Saturday, I came over in the morning to see him, as usually did, and they were like just wheeling in this oxygen machine that they put him on, and they were like, well, the doctor's going to be here soon, and we think maybe like an infection or something, but the doctor's going to be here. They're going to do some tests, and then they'll let you know. So I sit down, and after a while, my brother also showed up, and we kind of just sat there with him on this respirator, and he was kind of like looking at us, a little bit panicky, like what's going on. He wanted to do things, but he couldn't because he was just too weak. And the doctor came, did the tests, and after a while, they said, it looks like he has high infection values in his blood or something. Like they can see that in the blood when there's like an infection being fought by the body, and they were like, well. It's probably not going to be something he's going to come out of, because when they have this type of serious lung infection, it's like the body's already quite weak, and we're likely to see him going. And did we want him to go to the hospital to have that treated? But we'd already talked about things like that previously, like we had said, like he never actually wanted to have dementia in the first place. He'd seen that with his mother, and he was very much afraid that he was going to go have it himself someday, and he didn't want to be in a care home. He was like very unhappy there, so we had decided some months before that, like if something serious comes up, then do what you can, but we don't need to drag him to a hospital and put him through all of that anymore because that's also a lot of stress and stuff like that. So we were like, okay, well, I guess this is now the palliative care section of the journey. And so we like sat with him for a while. I called my mother and my uncle, his brother, to let them know like if you want to see him, you might want to come now because he might not make it, etc. Meanwhile, we're going to be staring at some trees. We have that nice little cutscene going on in the background. And so they did. They came over, sat with him for an hour or such, and both of them lived quite far away, so they left shortly after that. But at least they saw him when he was still like with his eyes open, stuff like that. So that was good, I suppose. And in the night, no, actually they came the day after on Sunday. I'm mixing up my days. So I called them on Saturday, and then they came over on Sunday. That's how it is. So Sunday during the day they were there, and then after my uncle left, my mother was still there, and the care staff came in, and they were like, "Oh well, we're gonna like put him on a special drip now." And if you would like, you can go sit in the cafeteria and we'll call you when we're done. And that took about half an hour. And then they were done with that. And sometime after they did that, he actually like fell asleep because I think there's like a morphine mixture or something like that, something to calm them down and make sure that they're not in pain and stuff like that. So after all, my mother and brother left, and I left as well because I needed to walk the dog and feed her. And I was intending to come back the next day to check on him then, but something told me to go back that evening, and so I did. Around 7:30, I drove back. And I sat with him. They were actually kind of surprised to see me because I had said I was going to go, and they were like, "Oh, the family's not going to be around, so we'll have to keep an eye on him." But of course, we were, at least I was there. And I sat and watched TV for a while because I was like, well, if he's going to go, I'm going to, I guess, maybe spend an all-nighter here. I was going to go to Clint's. That's right, need to hurry because it's almost 4 p.m. But turns out that actually it didn't take all that long because it was just after a certain racing show, like a race, motorcycle race had stopped, like ended on TV. That I turned off the TV because I noticed that his breathing had gotten very quiet. And I kind of feel like, since he was always like a sports enthusiast, that he kind of waited for the race to conclude and hear who the winner was, and then he was like satisfied or something, and it was time to go. I don't know. It's just something that kind of stuck with me, that he stuck with us throughout the entire race, and then when the race ended, he got quieter, and so I turned off the TV. And after a while, breathing seemed to stop entirely, but I had heard that occasionally that can happen when somebody's like a near death, that they can have occasionally periods where it seems as though they're not breathing, but then suddenly they start gasping again and stuff like that. But that actually didn't happen because after some time of that, like 10 minutes or something, a nurse came in and she's like, "How are you guys doing?" And I was like, "I don't know, but like he's kind of quiet." And she's like, "Oh, well, actually, I think it's time to call the doctor because they of course have experience and they know what they're looking at." So it's like, okay, so I guess that was it then. I didn't really think that it was, but apparently it was. And that evening, since his manipulative girlfriend person had taken all of his administration previously, I had to have the care workers call them instead because I didn't have any of the insurance the insurance number for his, what you call that? Like an insurance for the burial, stuff like that. You have a specific insurance for that. So funeral insurance, I think you call that. So I didn't have any of that information, but you do need that if you call to let them know that he's passed away, because they need to go and collect the remains as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. And they also need to know who it is, what their number is, etc., etc. So they called to let her know that he had passed away, and I asked if they could ask her while they're letting her know if she could get that whole insurance thing going, because I didn't have any of the information. And so they were like, the person, she said, here's his policy number. I'm not actually going to go ahead and do anything anymore. Like, the chapter's done for as far as I'm concerned. Also, I have my Discord notifications on. I'm going to quickly turn that off because I hate that sound. Don't need to be pinged while I'm doing the streaming. That is under here, streamer mode enabled. Thank you very much. There we go. That's all the pinging we're going to hear for today. Ta-da! So she just withdrew her hands from him, her claws rather, that day. So I unblocked her on WhatsApp next day after I actually got some stuff done with the funeral home. And I was like, could you now leave his administration, all of his papers that you have of his, at the care home if you're not going to do anything about it, right? And so she did. And I'm pretty sure she didn't actually give us all this stuff because it was just one folder with a few things in there and a whole bunch of receipts of things that she had bought for him, and then also made him refund her because she had access to his bank account at that point. Though I don't know if she could see what was actually in the bank account. Hello, Sebastian. How are you doing today? Thinking people are like stones skipping over the water. Eventually, we're going to sink. Oh, great. Great topic, Sebastian. I'm going to go turn this in at the museum. Actually, no, the museum is closed. Never mind. So, what was I going to say? Yeah. So she gave me one folder of all of his papers and a bunch of receipts and stuff that she took out of his account. Of course, was visible in the account itself when I actually got access to that, because now I have access to his account, which is still open, by the way. And she had taken his wallet and his passport and used duct tape to tape it around the folder. Like, she didn't want to respectfully put that in a thing or something. What? Wait, did I miss it? No, you did not. I'm just the one who made the mistake today. I thought it was going to be today, but it's tomorrow, so you don't miss anything. We're going to stream tomorrow as well. I just decided to do a little single player while I'm out here. Oh yeah, I have this farm where you have to fight monsters. Hang on, let me do that real quick. Get out of here. Oh, I need a better sword. Oh my god, it's going to take forever. So I need to go to the people to get me a better sword. And that's something else. Okay, put this away for now. I couldn't turn that in. And let's put this away for now. And that can come with me tomorrow. Very good. It is tomorrow. Do not worry. I'm going to bed. Let's see. Very good. I have coffee here. I shouldn't forget before it cools down. Hang on. Let me just type it in chat in case he's not listening. Tomorrow. There. Okay. Yeah, so she taped it to the folder, and as though she didn't really care about anything. It's very disrespectful, actually, to put duct tape on somebody's passport. I think that's really weird. Okay, apparently she thought that was normal. Well, weird things are normal to her anyway. I could open up a whole book about her. That's fine. Let's see. Oh my god, Marnie, you're in the way. Alright, seeing the cat here. I don't really care about the cat. Anyway, so, yes. And I managed to arrange everything for him. Now, luckily, with him, he passed away on the April 13th, by the way, of last year, 2025. Yeah, sure, adopt a cat. Dudley? Sure. Dudley the cat, here you go. La la la. What was I saying? Yeah, we took care of the arrangements there, and we buried him, I think, on was it the 18th or something, at the end of the week. So there was that. And then, of course, I had to take care of his inheritance thing because that's also a thing you have to do, particularly in the Netherlands, you have to do a lot of administration. My brother had already determined beforehand that he was actually going to deny any of inheritance because he didn't want to get through all the administration that is required for that. And I was like, well, I mean, we actually expected that she had run up a bunch of bills that she was going to stick us with at the end of all this, but I try to accept it as like a beneficiary, which means if you have paid all the bills and there's no more money left in the person's account, then that's unfortunate for all the debt collectors. There's just no more money left. They can't come and ask you to pay instead. So I'm going to do a quick interruption because Marvin is talking. Marvin says, nearly gave me a second heart attack. I think one was more than enough today. Nearly passed out at the grocery store at heart rate from 150 drops to 60 for about a minute. Then my oxygen level dropped and I nearly passed out. 150 to 60 and oxygen dropped to 70. I have no idea what those numbers mean, but I'm assuming that that's bad. Take care of yourself. Make sure to stay calm. Anyway, we'll talk more about that tomorrow. What was I going to say? Yeah, my dad's funeral took place, I think, on the 18th. It was like Friday after that. And yeah, the beneficiary thing, I was just talking about that actually. So you have to fill out a whole form to first of all prove that you are indeed one of the heirs, and the heirs. It's spelled with an H, okay. So you have to prove that you're an heir. You have to get like the certificate of death, I think they call that. You have to get your birth certificate, which I didn't have. I had to request that as well, make sure that I could prove that I was indeed his heir. And you have to go through a whole list of estate things, like what is his name, what are his debts, what are his account numbers, etc. He didn't have a whole lot. He was in a care home since December 2022. He didn't actually have a house anymore before that. He had some lease cars before that, which the debts had already been paid off of that. So he had no debts, but also no things to sell. All he had left was a little bit of money in his account, and a few things came up from that as well. Like a couple of companies suddenly started refunding him certain things several months after the fact. But you do have to like wait for, I don't want to upgrade anything, for the, what you call that again? The law to catch up and say, okay, you are now recognized as heir and you are recognized as a person who can handle the estate, and then you can finally start paying bills and stuff like that. But I don't know what it is, but all sorts of companies, for some reason, think that just because it's been 2 weeks since somebody's passed away, that you're now able to fully take care of all of his estate and stuff like that, when they know that it takes months for court to even go through all the papers and agree that you are now allowed to take care of things. But meanwhile, they are like sending you bills about stuff, and you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that, and you have to tell all these companies you have to wait a while because I don't have the money and I'm not accepting it with my own finances. I'm going to try to pay what I can with whatever he has left, and if there's nothing left, that's too bad. We'll have to see who gets what first. But fortunately, there weren't as many people looking for money as he had money left, so we were able to pay off whatever there was in the way of bills with what he had, and there was no further issues with that. I need to get rid of this stone because it's getting a little bit busy. Can I just drop this? I need to put stone in there. Yeah, I know I need to put stone in there. Oh, the community center. I need to go into the community center. Yeah, so that's that. Now, like I said, my brother actually didn't want to inherit anything. He didn't think it was worth the trouble. I apparently need to turn these in. I think I'll do that first because there's some coal here. And I want that too. So, that was April. And by the time I had everything settled, quote unquote, except for the income tax, which comes a year after, it was about August-ish when I had all the papers in and able to pay everything and see the final balance, so to speak. Spring foraging is here. I need one of these. I need to get my foraging stuff in order. It's already the 10th and I only have one thing. And then it got kind of quiet for a little bit. And then in November, somewhere halfway, I think the 17th or 18th, I sent my brother a message on WhatsApp, but I didn't actually get a response, and I didn't get a received receipt either. Like in WhatsApp, you get these little check marks. Like if you sent it, you get one check mark, which is gray. If it's been received by the recipient's phone, then it's two gray check marks. If they've read it or have their read receipts on and they've seen it, then it turns into two blue check marks. But I sent a message and it remained on one gray check mark. So it had sent it, I left my phone, but it never actually arrived. And then after a couple of days, I tried again and there was again no receipt. Now I think at the time, well, I know for it at the time, I was thinking, well, he's been struggling with his phone. His phone has an older Android version. He needed to get a new phone because his banking app didn't work anymore on his phone. So I thought, okay, maybe he's gotten himself another phone and he's now just trying to reinstall everything and he's having some trouble because he never really liked doing stuff like that in the first place. It's always a hassle. Nobody really likes doing that. It's so annoying. Although last time that I bought another phone, it went really well. They have improved their Switch app for Samsung, I think. I think all my apps were installed, but back then I thought it was still going to be a hassle. And I thought, well, maybe he's just struggling with his phone. Maybe he used to keep all of his phone numbers saved to his old phone, and the old phone broke, and now the new phone doesn't have any of his numbers. So I sent him a text message on his old number, thinking, well, if he doesn't have my number, I can just send a text message, say, hey, it's me, this is my number, and then he'll get in touch. So I did that. Didn't get any reaction to that either. Then on, well, that same day, I sent him an email. Now, I didn't know if he actually checked his email anymore, but I did know that he had email. So I sent him an email saying, hey, in case your phone is broken, this is my number, and etc. What's that? Oh, flowers. Hoping that he would see his email and go, hey, wait, they sent an email. Now I can finally give them a call or something. When I didn't get a response to that, I also sent him a card, which is pretty much all within the span of like 2 days that all has happened. Because when I'm focused on something, I'm like, oh, this needs to happen. And I keep thinking about it, thinking about it. And if I don't get an immediate response, I try a different thing. And then I start thinking about what else I can do. So I did all these things in like 2 days. So I sent him a card, I think, on Saturday or Friday. And then I was like, okay, if I haven't heard anything from him, or if he doesn't call me on Monday, I have to go take a look on Tuesday because on Monday the mail would probably be delivered, or Saturday. I think I sent it on Friday and delivered on Saturday, and then I would expect to hear something on Monday at the latest. So I waited, and Monday I had got no response. On Tuesday, I was like, I'm gonna go and check it out, see if I can see if he's on holiday or something, because he had quit his job in February 2025 because he didn't like working there anymore, and he was just taking a bunch of months off because he had money saved up. He had taken time off to just go do things that he wanted to do, like a really long holiday. He just drove wherever he wanted to go, went to see movies, did all the things, went to, I don't know, different forest trails. He sent me a lot of pictures of different forest trails that he went to. So he basically just had a really fun time those months. So I thought maybe he decided to grab a plane ticket and go somewhere. You never know. So I went over there, and he lives in an apartment, or lived in an apartment that's like a penthouse apartment, and it's difficult to see from ground level whether anybody's home or not. I went there in November, so it was dark, of course, at around 6 that I went there. And I walked around first of all to take a look at his lights, and the lights were off when I walked around and had reached a sufficient enough distance that I could actually see the windows. It was dark in there, so I was like, that's weird. I saw that his car was in the parking lot, so I went to look at the car. Now his car was a very, well, still is, a very nice Volvo V40, very expensive car. Really nice color, like an ocean blue almost, like very unique, striking car, and he was very proud of that. And so I was like looking at his car, and it was covered in like stuff from the trees and birds had pooped on and everything. So I knew for a fact that he hadn't actually seen the car in quite some time, because he would not have left that there. He will always get upset even if it's just one bird. I'm walking the wrong way. like one bird poop that he found, he would immediately need to wash that, and he was really proud of that. And any little bit that went on his car would be heavily criticized. So I knew that he hadn't looked at his car in quite some time. Hey, Alex, how you doing? So there was no lights. Really? Okay. I was a little sore. Maybe next time. All right, Alex. See you later. Alex is apparently better to try to have a male farmer than a female farmer. All right. So, what was I saying? Yeah, his car was dirty. I didn't see any lights on, so I went into the hall because it's an apartment building. You can't just walk up to his apartment. And I tried ringing his doorbell. The intercom rang a bunch of times, but he didn't actually answer. So I was like, okay, now I'm getting a little bit concerned because his windows are dark. The car looks like he hasn't touched it, and he's not answering. He's not answering his phone. Nothing's being received. So I was like, there's something really wrong here. Like, this is not how he usually acts. Oh, here comes the thing where they show you the next plaque. There you go. I hate when games lock you in place to show you something. I just want to keep moving. It is like somebody literally holding me in place until they're done showing me something that I already know is going to happen. Anyway, so there's that. So I called the cops to investigate because I can't get in there. I couldn't get past the central door downstairs. And I decided to call the cops and do like a welfare check. Now, they don't really have something that is officially called a welfare check in the Netherlands. You just have to contact the cops and say, this is the issue. Could you come over and see if you can get in or something? Make some contact with the occupant of this apartment. Mm-hmm. Just taking a swig of my coffee before it cools down completely. And so they came over after about 10 minutes. And they also don't have the key to get into the main stairway. But they started ringing people's doorbells. And it was kind of weird because the first person who answered, they were like, hey, it's the police. Could we like come in? And the person on the other end was like really suspicious of why the police were there. Like they almost seemed to think that they were after them. Wait, these are spring crops. I can plant these actually. Hang on, let me just do that real quick. So they were like, oh, what's the deal? What's going on? Why should I let you in? And stuff like that. And they're like, no, no, it's not about you. Just open the door like that. So after a while, they finally buzzed them in. So that was kind of weird, but okay, fine. So his apartment is fairly small. It's like 30 square meters. I don't know how much feet that is. Oh my god, that's right, I'm being attacked. Oh my god, leave me alone. I'm trying to plant things. Okay, I guess I'll do it in the morning because my sword is not great. Actually, I'll just grab my sword and try again. Where is he? Come here. Come here. Oh, there's more. Oh my god, this is like annoying. How can I plant things? I have to plant them before 9, I guess. Stop it. Die. This is not a very good way of planting and telling stories. Die. Oh, you can chop it with the thing. I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, so it's a very small apartment. I cannot water under these circumstances. I'm going to have to water it in the morning. So they went up there with me, of course. And when they ring the doorbell works, and it's a fairly loud buzzer. And the apartment's so small, there's no way that he wouldn't be able to hear that, even if you were like furthest away, which would be like in the bathroom, I think. That would be maybe 4 meters away total, like without walking, of course. Living off the land, I don't really care too much about that. What about the luck today? Fortune teller, something about they're annoyed today. So after a while, it's like, well, there's no way that he didn't hear that. And so I guess he's just not in or something else is going on. So they tried to open the door with like a credit card type thing, but he had like an extra lock at the top of the door on the inside because his regular lock was on and the, I guess, latch at the top of the door was on. And so they had to call in somebody who had one of those mini battering rams to get the door down. And so they waited for that, and meanwhile they asked questions like when have you last talked to him, what is he like, and stuff like that. So I was like showing him pictures of the car, and they ran his plates to see if they had been picked up by any speed cameras or anything like that recently, and they didn't find anything about that. But what was interesting is that the guy who was looking up the car, the information on the car, said all of a sudden like, hey, it looks as though a minute or so before I looked up his license plate, the actual insurance got canceled because they haven't paid in a while, because his account was actually empty, but they didn't know that at the time. Neither did I. So they was like, that's so weird that that happened just now, like a weird sign. And indeed, that is strange when that happens. I'm gonna pet the cat for a second. So the guy with the battering ram arrives, and they take the door down, and in like a minute or so, they walk around the apartment, calling out for him to let it be known that he's in there and stuff like that, like they usually do. If you've seen any police body cam footage, you'll have seen that. And so after a while, they stop yelling, and I hear them saying, "Oh yeah, over here," like in a tone that says, "I found something." You know what I mean? There's like a certain tone that people speak in when there's something that they were probably expecting there. So I was like, okay, that tells me enough. I know for a fact that he is in there, but he's no longer with us, which was, of course, a big shock because I never suspected that he was like sick or anything like that. Ultimately, when the doctors came, because they always need to go and verify somebody who has been deceased to check that they're really dead and maybe potentially see what the issue was without actually doing a full autopsy. And they were like, well, it looks as though he just kind of fell over in the bathroom and had a heart attack or something like that. So they were like, that's what it looks like. And if you want to have an autopsy done, you have to like let us know, and then we can arrange that. But then you have to let us know before in the morning because that needs to be happen or it needs to be taken care of in a certain amount of time. And I was like, no, actually, I don't think that's really worth it. It's not going to bring him back and stuff like that. So I didn't really find that necessary. Need to get a better sword. Now I'm looking at the bird rings over here. So that was a shock, but what was also weird was the doctor herself. There was this female doctor who came over, not that the matter, like the fact that she's female doesn't matter, but just I'm going to be saying her, so in case people were expecting a male doctor, it was actually a female. So she went in here and looked at him. She had to call a colleague to confirm together what the cause of death could have been, and they together determined that it was probably like a heart attack or something, like something sudden. And then she was like, "Oh, you can go take a look if you want. You can go take a look. You know, if you would like to take a look." Like constantly trying to push me to go and take a look, and I was like looking at her like, "No, why would I want to see that? Like, I don't really want to. He's probably been there for like a week. Why would I want to go take a look at that?" But okay. So after a while, she stopped insisting, and she went away again. And then I finally got to contact the funeral home to come collect him, and they came about half an hour later. They were there, and they were like, "Oh, have you gone to take a look?" Before they had actually seen him yet. And I was like, "No, I haven't gone to see him." And they were like, "Okay, well, that's also an option." And so after they were actually done loading him into this special body bag, they came back out of the bathroom because he was in the bathroom. And they were like, yeah, you don't want to see him like this. And I was like, no, I kind of knew that. And then I'm thinking, of course, of this strange encounter that I just had with the doctor who was like, you can go take a look. Like, what are you trying to do to people? Like, why are you trying to get people to look at things? Why would you want a loved one to see somebody who is deceased that they know in a certain state like that? It's kind of strange. Maybe she thinks that I might regret not taking a look, which no, but okay, so that was also kind of weird. But okay, so with him, of course, since he was only 48 and he had a lot of stuff to his name, like the car and the apartment and accounts and things like that, it was a lot more difficult to get all of his estate taken care of. So I actually got, I have no more space. I got a little company involved. It's like this one-person business who does all this type of thing for you, like managing estate and stuff like that. And I contacted her, I think, late November, early December. And it's now August. And only now are we actually able to go and get the apartment sold because everything else has been taken care of. We done all the paperwork and stuff like that. Imagine how long it takes just to take care of these things. Then they have to do all the administration and things, and it's just way too much work for one person. Excuse me. Also, if you've never actually done that before, you're not going to be likely to do it right, so you need somebody to take care of that. There, now you have finally a sizable backpack. Thank goodness. Hi, Elliot. Hello, Benny. That's right, my name is Benny here. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so it's now August 18th. Tomorrow I'm going to go over there and I have two real estate agents. They're coming over, which she arranged, and one company is going to come over to clear out all the furniture and stuff, which isn't a lot because it's like a very small place, like a square almost. And he had one table, four chairs, a bed, and I think that's all the large furniture. There is like some stuff in a wall cabinet that they can take, like a ladder, a broom, and then there's some like what do you call those things? Blinds, like the railing for blinds are in the basement storage. Those can go. Everything else is like small stuff, like a couple of pots and pans and a couple of cups, some small things like that. He didn't have a lot because he was actually cleaning up things at his house previously already. He really enjoyed renting a trailer to put on his hitch on his car, and he like talked to me about all the stuff he had already dumped, and he was like going to clean everything out. He was like really turning into a minimalist because he really just enjoyed not having all this stuff anymore laying around, because he used to have everything everywhere. He would like have his clothes on the floor, different things, whatever, bags, the floor would be covered, and it just stuff would be everywhere. But when I came in there that day when they found him, I was like kind of shocked at how empty it was, because that's like not how I remembered it to be. I hadn't been in his apartment for like a decade because after a while he didn't want people to come over anymore. Because last time that my mother came over, she insisted that we clean a bunch of stuff. So he didn't want us to do that anymore. Not that I was like particularly cleaning, but he, I guess, didn't want any of that repeated ever, so he just didn't invite anybody over to his place anymore. And then recently, start of 2025, he actually really enjoyed taking things to like the recycle place, and he had like dumped everything that he didn't think necessary anymore. So his apartment was very empty already, aside from the basic furniture that he actually needed. So that was already kind of surprising. But also, he had gotten rid of all of his administration that he may have ever had, like his car papers, other papers, insurance papers, everything. Anyway, any type of paper that he could have ever had. There was none of that in his apartment. I checked all of the different nooks and crannies I could think of, all the different closet spaces, whatever. Even checked behind like a vent. I thought maybe he had gone a little bit conspiracy theorist and thought that maybe they were trying to get his stuff and maybe he had hidden it somewhere. Like after a while, I start thinking all sorts of things, and couldn't find it there either. What was I doing? I'm just randomly cutting trees now. Do I have a quest? I do. Almost lost axe. Okay, we can do that. So I couldn't find anything, but luckily, I suppose, he also never emptied his mailbox. So his mailbox was crammed full of mail of the like the past 2 years, including the Christmas card that I sent him the year before and the card that I sent him a week earlier because I wanted to see if he would respond to that. But among that, of course, also all sorts of other things, different bills, other yeah, insurance stuff, policies, there was this debt collector because there is his account had basically ran out of money. I'm thinking somewhere early October, but he never actually knew, so he didn't see any of the letters coming in from the debt collectors, and so he had some debts there that needed sorting out and taken care of, and so he never knew that anybody was looking to get him money from him, or that they were trying to sue him over access to his apartment because they had messed up a electric cable on the roof of the building at some point. And so he had been asked to be home at a certain time so that the electricians could come in and see if they could fix it by using his cable box or whatever it was. And oh wait, Robin's actually, we're going to go fetch that. Turns out, by the way, later that that actually wasn't even necessary, and they ended up fixing it some other way. But they, of course, weren't able to reach him because he was a truck driver for the most part of his career, and he wasn't home usually before 8:30, 9 o'clock in the evening. So if somebody wants to come over at 10 in the morning or even at 4 in the afternoon, he just wasn't going to be able to be there. So he was like, stop bothering me. I can't be there on time, figure something else out. But they were like trying to get into his apartment anyway, and so they had like the homeowners association had tried to contact a lawyer to see what they could do. But then of course I contacted him about the fact that he had passed away, and so they were like, oh well, we just need access to his apartment and stuff, and so we got that taken care of finally. Oh, here comes a cutscene. I know you need food, Linus. Why am I? Oh yeah, I was gonna go to Robin's, but she's closed. Guess I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do one more day, and then I'm gonna call it for now because I don't feel like spending an entire hour on here. So got that taken care of, and those electricians came over and they spent some time looking around, and then ultimately they were like, well, actually we can't do anything in here, so we're gonna have to just pull the cable over the roof, and then that fixes the entire situation. And that situation had been going on since July of 2024 because they had messed up the roof then, and it took them that long to just go, well, maybe that isn't the problem, or maybe that isn't the solution, so I guess we'll just have to figure something else out. So there, that was taken care of. Did I pet the cat today? I guess so. Level 4 foraging, great. Well, that went on, and what else did I do? I had to clean a bunch of stuff out. I took the floor tiles out for the most part, fixed his sliding doors to the balcony because they hadn't been opened in probably like 10 years. There are a lot of dust in there as well, and he had not really cleaned his shower. He had used it, but he hadn't cleaned it, and that meant that there was like a whole trail of calcium, basically, limescale going down one wall. I had to like clear all that off. Also, in the actual basin itself, there was like a whole trail of limescale headed toward the sink part, or what do you call that thing where the water goes down? Either way, that was something that I need to do. Spent quite a lot of time on that actually. And there had been at some point a leak near one of the vents, which had left some decoloration on the ceiling, so I had to paint that over. Just little things like that. I would do things like that. I took all the floor tiles out. I think I already said that. Yep. Small things like that. I would fix things, and I'm out of water. So that took some time. But in the meantime, I was waiting for the moments where I could actually get everything sold, which was out of my hands because I had asked this other person to take care of that, and she was not able to move forward unless the court was in agreement that everything was in order. And meanwhile, my mother has memory issues, her short-term memory. Oh, we got the Egg Festival. Is that today? Is that today? I don't know, we'll see. It says tomorrow, but maybe I didn't actually check my mail yesterday. And if I walk in here and it says that we're setting up a festival, then I guess it's today. Probably not. So she has memory issues, but since she is the eldest, all these different organizations started mailing her all these things. Yeah, it's tomorrow. About different bills that still need to be paid. The notary started sending her bills. Other things started sending her notifications about taxes and things that need to be paid. But of course, she had no idea what was going on. She barely even recognized the fact that he was gone, like she was at the funeral. But since she has, like, I think some type of Alzheimer's or dementia, it hasn't actually been diagnosed, her reactions are very muted. Like, she'll laugh at things, but she doesn't seem to have access to her grief or anything like that. So it comes out in different ways. And in her, it tends to come out more in constantly asking about, has the apartment been sold yet? Why don't you keep all the money when the apartment's been sold? And I was like, I can't keep all the money because we're both considered heirs, you and I. So once everything's sold and everything's settled, if there's any money left, they're gonna like split it between the two of us. Well, I actually need to talk to you and give you the axe. Hang on. Like that. She doesn't seem to understand that anymore. But she did get that mail, so she would get all freaked out. Let's show up at the community center. Yeah, I already been there. Thank you. Yep, I have the completed quest here. Thank you very much. Did I do anything else? Initiation, slimes, advancements. Farm level 1, raising animals, build a coop, foraging, craft a furnace. Can't do that yet. And the mines, I guess. Okay, so she was getting like upset about things, so she's going to be happy to learn that the apartment will be sold soon, so she can stop asking about that. But at the actual funeral service, although it was a cremation service, she was like talking to people about how he had. I don't think I have anything unlocked yet. Oh, I do actually at level 5. He had decided that he needed to walk home from work one day, and it had been so far the distance that he gave up and basically took himself out. That's what she thought was going on. Her story basically starts with him getting fired from his job. And I keep having to remind her, like, no, that's not what happens. Now, I know that when somebody has memory loss issues, you're not supposed to contest the things that they say. But the thing is, her version of events is much more traumatic than what actually ended up happening. So I do want her to know every time, like, no, he didn't get fired. He didn't like his job anymore, so he quits. And then he just spent a couple of months doing whatever he felt like, having a good time, and he just had a heart attack. Like, it's not like he got into terrible trouble, because in her mind, it was like he got fired, he had to return the truck that he was driving that day, and because the company was so far away from his home, that meant he had to walk back home, because in her mind, apparently he never drives to work, he just uses a truck every day, I suppose. And because he didn't have any more money, he was starving, and that's how he decided to quit, so to speak. But that's definitely not what happened, and it's also not what I want her to remember, because it's just not the right thing. Anyway, so other than that, she doesn't seem to react much, and at the funeral, she was telling people this weird story about what she thought had happened. But she had spent, like, most of her emotions came from the fact that it had been busy on the road. And she's like, well, it was super busy and we almost wanted to turn around, but yeah, you can't really do that for something like this. And like, it was almost like she was going to attend just a regular meeting and she felt bad for not attending. So she persevered anyway, driving that hour and a half over. And it's like, that's not something that normal people will say if they're attending their child's funeral service. Like, that's just weird and definitely not normal. But you see that a lot with people with memory issues. They tend to have a flat affect, I think they call that. Like certain emotions are just not available anymore, and therefore they can't help that they can't react appropriately. So I don't really like have an issue with that. It's just what it is. And so, what I did for her, meanwhile, is I got her one of those digital photo frames and put a whole bunch of pictures of him on there. And I put that in her living room so she can see him every once in a while, and then she'll like looking at him. And there was one picture that she didn't recognize it. She thought it was actually somebody else, which was kind of funny because I had used AI. Yeah, I know, sorry, to generate a picture of himself in a truck because I didn't have a lot of recent photos of him. I had a couple of photos of him, but he never actually put on like a normal expression. He always had to make a weird face. So I only really had faces or pictures of him with a weird face. And I was like, he really enjoyed driving the truck, and he would always talk about how he had these Capri Sun packages. And so, oh, we got the new journal entry unlocked. What? Oh, okay, great. We can go to the adventure skill. We'll do that because I want a better sword. So I was like, okay, I'll use the AI to get a picture of him in the driver's seat of a truck with a Capri Sun package, nice weather, him smiling, stuff like that. So I could put that in the list. And I thought when she said she didn't recognize one of the people in the photo list, that it was because of that. But it turns out that actually she didn't recognize a photo of him from the 90s, which was definitely not AI. And he was looking a lot younger, and he was actually smiling and stuff like that. He was like doing a funny pose because he never like did normal poses in front of a camera ever. So he did have a bit of a weird pose. He looked kind of smug, but he was like having a good time, and I took a picture of him in that moment, but she didn't recognize him. So when she finally pointed out the picture, it's like, hey, that's him as well, like in the 90s. He's like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Like really amazed at how good he looked and stuff like that, because of course he wasn't gray yet at that time, and he was still like a slim teenager. I think he was 19 or something when he took that photo, when that photo was taken. So that was funny to see her react to that photo. Other than that, she doesn't really have much in the ways of reactions. Her husband is actually the one who is lighting candles on his behalf and stuff like that and trying to get her to process the emotions. Now, he's not the best at taking Well, I wouldn't say taking care. He does take very good care of her physically, but he does also try to challenge her on things when that is something you're not supposed to do. When somebody has a mental decline. Do we need to turn in aquamarine? I think you do, but not yet. I think that's for a different bundle. I'll put them in here for now. Geodes, I can't crack them because he has already left. Can I make a furnace? No, I need more stone, but I have stone in here. I think, yep, I can make a furnace real quick, and then that quest is also done. Da -da -da -da. There we go. So he lights the candles and talks about him. Also, when I'm there, he talks about him a lot, and he keeps talking to her like, "Oh, you've only got one child left. You should do more with them." And she's just kind of like, "Yeah, yeah, I suppose. I don't know." It doesn't really click with her anymore. That maybe certain things are like, I don't know, still things that she could do or whatever. She's just kind of focused on how she can't get into her bank account because she can't use her phone properly anymore. This one can go now. I'll drop this off in the community box. So that's a whole thing as well, and both of them are actually kind of struggling with their phones because their phones are a little older and they're also both using older Android versions. That means that banking apps don't work anymore, and mobile phones are just not like smartphones are just not good for people who are getting on in their age. They just don't understand them anymore after a while. Some people do. Somebody in the comments will undoubtedly say, well, my grandma's 90 and she's able to use WhatsApp. I'm sure that she can. Very happy for her. But the vast majority does have some issues with phones, particularly when they start to get older and their mental capacity shrinks, because she was able to use the phone previously. Why does it say I need to put... Oh, here it is. But as the years progressed and her memory issues progressed as well, she was less and less capable of understanding what was happening on the screen, and she kept getting all of these junk apps on her phone because she would play a game like solitaire, and there would be these ad banners, and these ad banners are very nasty. They go, oh, your phone needs cleaning, and then you need to install this app. So she had like 40, 50 clean apps, PDF reader apps, different types of gallery cleaning apps, and whatever. They were all nonsense, and they were all trying to get her to install more apps on her phone. And so I would have to clean those up every time. And then the other day, I figured out if I disable the Google Play Store, she actually doesn't have that issue because it doesn't do that anymore. They can't install it anymore. What else is in here? Do I need this? No. That one? No. I thought I saw something pulsing. So I disabled that, and now she's able to use her phone a little better because there aren't so many apps trying to get in the way. It's not just that they install themselves, it's also that they keep showing banners, they keep showing ads in the middle of you just randomly using your phone. There'll be a banner that goes, hey, you need to check this out, or you need to play this game. And there's some apps that even like start to try and block you from uh, long tapping on them to try and remove them as well. There are like certain things that they can do to block you from being able to remove them easily. And that's really annoying. It's kind of scummy the way they do that because it just puts more malware and trash on your phone. And after a while, they just don't know what to do with it anymore. And they kind of give up on the phone altogether because they just don't know anymore. So that is now hopefully a little bit better. Now that I've turned that off, does mean that you can't install updates on certain things, but that just means that when I'm there, if updates are needed, I'll turn it back on again. And she doesn't know how to turn it on because she doesn't know it's off in the first place, and she never really reads the messages. So there's like a very slim chance she's going to actually turn it back on herself and then get back into trouble. So that has helped. Oh, there's more stone here. I thought I was done with the stone. Exactly behind a tree. Sneaky stone over here. That has helped to keep the phone somewhat clean, but she just doesn't really look at it the same way that she used to, meaning that every time it gets more and more difficult for her to actually use her phone. But they live an hour and a half down the road, and I can't be there every day to see what's going on. I'm glad that he's still reasonably mentally capable but he's also very stubborn and they tend to fight a lot. So that is also a concern. I've tried all sorts of different instances, health care workers, a doctor, tried to get in touch with them. She didn't actually want to tell me what doctor she was with because that it scares her. She doesn't actually want to go to the doctor because I think she knows at a certain level that something's going on, but she doesn't want to know. So she thinks as long as I haven't been diagnosed, everything's fine when everything is actually not fine. So putting that in there. Didn't go to the traveling merchant today. That's unfortunate. So that is annoying, but I did actually manage to contact her doctor after I figured out which one it was, and they sent this specialized elderly care person over to talk to her. And from the one time that they talked about them having visited, they didn't contact me, by the way, because that's like a privacy concern thing. You can't just go calling anybody who called about these things. Oh, there's a crow again. Can I make a thing yet? I can, so I should. Fiber and wood for a scarecrow. There we go. Let's make a nice scarecrow. That's another quest done. Advancement, thank you, 100 gold. Okay, I'll put you over here. Yep. There. Now I can't see the plant behind here, but that's okay. Worry about that some other time. Oh, I didn't turn anything in for the spring crops. Okay, fine. I'll worry about that some other time. I'm not really playing this for like actual points or progress anyway. Anyway, so they went to visit her, and it was somebody, of course, who is experienced with people who are elderly and who are in denial of the fact that they have issues going on. She also sent him away for a bit, trying to talk to her alone, because she recognized that he was basically doing most of the talking. And as well intentioned as that is, she does need to talk to my mother specifically to see what's going on with them. And so that happened for a while. I wasn't there for that, so I don't know exactly what was talked about. But in some versions, when they mention that she visited, they say, oh, they're going to come back at some point. And in other versions, they say, oh, I don't know if she's going to come back, but we'll see what happens then. So maybe they also forgot that there's like an extra appointment or whatever. But I think now that they actually have her on the radar, hopefully there will be more people keeping an eye on her from a distance. And I'm trying to be there like every couple of weeks. I want to go over there to see what's going on. Of course, that does mean that putting extra miles on my car that I didn't really want to put on it in the first place. But okay, it is what it is. Egg thing is happening today, isn't it? I'll do that. Egg hunt. And then I'm gonna go because I'm tired of streaming for now. But yeah, so there's some issues with that. But tomorrow there's going to be a couple of real estate agents who are going to go take a look at the apartment, and then they'll make an offer, I suppose, and then I'll call the person who is taking care of the estate to let them know which one I felt best about, and then they can handle the sale. And then the person that's coming to clean out the place will be done pretty quickly because it's only, like I said, a bed and then a table and chairs, and actually they took the bed apart, so I didn't even really need to. They don't need to do much, is what I'm trying to say. Here's Linus. Hello, Linus. No one really talks to me. That's because you're always sticking, like, out the edges of the place, Linus. Instead of actually talking to people. Anyway, so then they'll be done. They won't be coming back. Actually, already did quite a lot of work for them, so they don't need to do much. Spring is the busy time of year. Okay, great. Everybody's loved the egg hunt ever since I was a kid. Oh, great, great, blah, blah, blah. And you are never missing a Fat Town Festival. Great. Demetrius, come here. What a strange thing to have a tradition around. Yep, Demetrius, great. Vincent loves the festival. Vincent Dawn, painting eggs. Fruit punch is amazing. Alright. Here we have Maru. Always look forward to these things. And Penny, children were looking forward to this festival for weeks. Great. Jazz, find some eggs today, hopefully Vincent as well. And I have to talk to these guys down here. Hello, Sam. You've got allergies. Searching for eggs is like doing something, I don't know. And then we have these two. And then I think I still need to talk to Evelyn and Grumpy George. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, Marnie, maybe? Yeah, Marnie as well. Da 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 da. Okay. And then the apartment will be sold. And then the car is also going to need to be sold. The car hasn't moved since, I'm guessing, at the latest early November, so the battery is super dead. The gas may have expired. I don't know. I think that's a thing. After 6 months or something, the gas will expire, and then you need to remove that and put new gas in or whatever. But I'm guessing the people who deal in that type of thing will know about that. I just need to check in the trunk of the car because I think he was talking about how he would always buy a tray of a certain type of soft drink and then just put that under the shelf. And if that's still sitting there, some of that may have popped over the hot summer. I don't know. We'll see. And of course, there are some tools in there that I also want to take out because I'm not going to give away free tools because I can always use that for my own car. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna have to load a bunch of stuff into my own car because everything needs to go. And the new person will want to have it soon, I'm guessing. Whoever buys it. And then that is that taken care of. And then it's just the income tax. Why am I running up here? And that's something that she's also going to take care of the other organization, because I don't know how to do the income tax. It's a lot of work. Thank you for the egg. And I've never really been good with taxes. I'm not very good with my own taxes either. I'm usually very happy that they filled out most of the stuff in the app that you use for taxes, but with income tax for myself, I still think I know what I'm doing, but when it comes to his taxes, I have no idea if that's correct or not. So I will just leave that to her, as she's already applied for being able to do his income taxes of the year anyway. And so that is good. I want this one. Yes, I got that one just in time. I can't get you on the other side of the fence. I'm just going to stand here. I think I got 10 eggs, it said. That's good. That probably means a straw hat for me. And a nice time to close it as well. So, look at all these eggs. So yeah, a lot has happened over the past year and a half, and I'm glad that we're almost done with most of that. And then hope that nothing else spectacular is going to happen the rest of the year. And we'll see what's left at the bottom of the line and what I can do with that. Probably not a lot, but we'll see. Either way, I'm going to see who the winner is. It's me, Benny. Every time I pick a new name, I go, who's that? Okay, that's me. Thank you. Well, that's it for this year's Egg Festival. Thanks for coming, everyone. Same goes for the stream. Thanks for being here if you're still here. And tomorrow we will have the actual regular scheduled stream. I can't even talk right now. Regular scheduled stream, which has moved to Wednesday, where there will be more people, and you won't just have to listen to me talking. And I will see you then. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.